Like this one. There we go. What's going on? How y'all doing? Today we're doing a self cut so you guys can see the Ninja Waver cut his own 540 waves. I don't really do a lot of self cuts like that, mainly because I'm always wolfing for about 4 to 6 weeks. But on this live stream, you guys are gonna get to literally watch me from start to finish, cut my waves, so that way if some of you guys have been inspired to want to learn how to cut your own hair, you can watch me do it. Or if you just like watching wavers cut their hair, this is perfect for you. Now, you guys peep the shirt, of course. You guys peep the wave, the Wave Squad t-shirt. Be sure to check that out in my YouTube bio. The link is on the channel. All right, but let me know how you guys are going. I'll wait a little bit for some more people to come in, and then we're gonna get started. All right, make sure you set up here. Make sure we got everything here. All right, without further ado, let's hop right into it. So, for those of you who have never cut your 360 waves before, first time, it is a little bit intimidating, I'm not gonna lie, but ultimately, you're just cutting in the same direction that you brush your hair. So it's really not that bad once you get the hang of it. Of course, you will need your own clipper set. You can get a clipper set from Walmart, Target, Amazon. They're all over the place, and it really doesn't matter what brand. One of the more popular brands is the Walls Clipper Set. So that's spelled WAHL. I have a different clipper set. This one my sister actually got me last year for Christmas. I'll show you guys what it's working with. And when I say clipper set, I mean what's gonna be a part of that clipper set is some razors, trimmers, some guards, maybe a couple of combs, and that's really the main thing. That's really the main thing. So nothing too fancy, but like I said, I'm gonna walk you guys step by step. All right, so first, these are gonna be what's referred to as clippers. Simply because these are what you see barbers use when they are cutting wavers hair. All right, this is actually doing the main work. So this is one part here. I love the gold design. My sister, she really hooked me up with this one. Shout out to you, sis. Love you. Thank you. All right. Next, you're gonna have some type of trimmers. All right, now these are referred to as trimmers, razors, or whatever, edgers, simply because this is what you will use to line up your hair. And I kind of feel like this is what most people get nervous about when it comes to cutting their waves is the lineup part. But you guys are gonna watch me do it. It's gonna be all good. Now this one, we won't be using this, but it's just like a nose trimmer. Love the gold design. Like I said, it doesn't matter what design you have. You have like an edge brush here for when you're doing edge work, like doing a fade. Let's get these guards here. And then of course you'll have a multitude of different guards, but depending on your hair type, you don't really need a number 8, number 6, 5 guard. Most wavers will use anything from a 1.5 to a 3 guard, really. 4 guard is kind of pushing it unless you're going against the grain. But for my hair type, I'm only using a 1.5 guard and a number 2 guard. So, or correction, I'm using a number 1 guard and I'm using a number 2 guard. So that's what I'm using to cut my waves. I'm just getting set up here and we'll be good to go. Let's see. Where's my number 2 guard? Alright, cool. Alright, so we are 7 minutes in. Alright, we're gonna hop right into it. So first I'm gonna show you guys what my waves are looking like. Wait, hold on. Alright, we are ready. Let's do this. Alright, let me show you guys what my waves are looking like before we cut it. Alright, now this is a 6 week. I've been woofing for 6 weeks. Yeah, you guys can tell I'm definitely woofing. I'm definitely woofing. It is time for a cut. It is definitely time for a cut, y'all. Woo, man. But you know, like from the front, it's not that bad. But it's definitely time for a cut. So that's what we're about to do. Let's hop right into it. Do this one. All right, so the first thing that you guys want to do when you're combing, or the first thing you want to do when you're cutting your hair, but before anything, really before you even get started, is you want to wash your waves. Now, you can wash your waves the day of your haircut, but it's best to do it 1 to 2 days before, so your hair has a lot of time to become very dry. All right, so my hair has no product in it, so that's gonna allow the clippers to easily run through my hair. Very, very important. Wash your hair if you can the day before. If not, do it earlier the day of, hours before. All right. Now, once you've unragged, you want to grab your comb. All right, whichever comb matches the length of your hair. All right, doesn't have to be perfect, and we're gonna comb your hair out. The reason why we're doing this is because the clippers need to have the hair lifted up so that way they can easily cut through them. All right. If you cut your hair as is, it's not really going to grab a lot of hair, so you need to lift your hair up. So that's what we're about to do here. You just grab it and you just comb in the direction of your pattern, just like this. Just like you would normally do with any of your 360 wave routines. Make sure everything's set up here. Alright, cool. Make sure we're good here. Alright, perfect. So all we're doing is lifting up the hair. That's all we're doing. All you're doing is lifting up the hair. Now, this comb session does not need to be very long because, again, you're about to cut your hair. So it doesn't have to be as long as your normal combing session. Just lift that hair up.
I was born for it, I was made for it. Working before I was paid for it. Ain't no finish line, I'm trying to race to it. I'ma run this shit after the tape torn. Can't be easing up, I keep the speed. I need that paper busting out the ring. I don't just live it, nigga.
Make sure you comb that crown out too.
Yeah, I'm a pastor, but I'm a heathen. I gotta get it beat. So bereavement, we ain't just in the league. We the legion, pushing it till we see every region, pedal the flow. Milling until at the head of the know. I got the temperature sweltering, never so effortless. Referencing what's in the toe. Don't mention my name, listen to the traumatized through all the years. Still I rise, I'm hard to kill. Before they lay me down the hill, I pray the Lord my sights reveal. All enemies in sight, and He holds true to words that God forgives. Close your eyes and guard your ears. Close your eyes and guard your. On the way to get a plate, I had to elevate and clear the slate. Before I could ever make them underrate, it was some different routes I had to take. I'm at a different height and they can feel it. Been cruising at 30K, the view was great. I'm trying to take this shit up through the ceiling. No limit on anything I never take, cause I'm in demand and shit. I stuck to the plan, it's clear. Yeah, I got a brand to build, applying pressure with no plans to chill. Put me in that prime time, this is special, I'm keeping the schedule filled. No time for the extra at all, I got it unlocked to conceal. I ain't trying to play, I'm in the field all day. I hit the top speed, still pushing it, that's how it is all day. You know I had a shot, but I took it cause I know the winds won't wait. That's just a risk I take, that's just a risk I take. When I lose, my eyes are even, there's a risk to all achievement. I'd rather live a lesson than die regretful. I earned this level, I burn my devils and turn this fate to my side.
Now, you don't have to do this. I just like to do it. You can comb up against the grain and then lay it back down just to make sure all the hair strands came up. Or you can just start cutting. But I'm going to do it real quick just so you guys can see. I ain't trying to play, I'm in the field all day. I hit the top speed, still pushing it, that's how it is all day. You know I had a shot, but I took it cause I know the winds won't wait. That's just a risk I take, that's just a risk I take. Alright, so hair is all combed out. You guys can see. Now I'm about to lay it back down real quick. Just to make sure I got all the hair strands lifted up before we cut it. Alright, so once you're done cutting or once you're done combing, now it's time to grab the clippers and you're going to grab the guard that you want your hair cut down to. Most wavers get their hair cut down on 1.5. For me, a 1.5 is kind of low. I like to keep mine to a 2, but it's your preference. So I'm going to grab my clippers here. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this number 2 guard. Alright. Look at this one. Now, keep in mind, like, this does not mean that your hair is 2 millimeters or 2 inches long. This is just a representative number of the length of your guard. So a number 2 guard in this case, I don't know if you guys can see, is 1/4 of an inch, or what is it? Or 6 millimeters. All right. So when someone says a number 2 guard, 9 times out of 10, they're referencing that length of hair. All right. So just know that the big number here does not mean the length of your hair. This is just what's used as another reference. All right. So I'm going to use a number 2 guard. You're just going to put it on your razor like that, or your clippers. Make sure it clips on. Now, for those of you who are really new to this is called a lever for your clippers. All right. You have 2 positions for the lever. You have open, which is when it's all the way out and parallel to the rest of the clipper, and you have closed, when you close in just like this. When you close the lever, that's going to pretty much keep the different parts of the razor closer together, and it's going to ultimately give you a lower cut than when you leave it open. All right. So in other words, a number 2 guard open is going to be slightly higher than a number 2 guard cut closed. So let's keep that in mind. Now, what I like to do is start off with the outside area of my waves first, because I'm going to cut that lower than where I cut my crown. You can start with your crown first, but because the crown's going to be higher, I like to save that for last, because at least if I go too far out on the crown, at least it's going to be a higher guard, so it's not going to cut any extra hair off. So let's hop right into this. This is electric. I don't need a cord, but some of y'all may need one. So let's hop right into it. So we're going to do a number 2 open, and we're going to we're going to do a number 2 close. I'm starting off with the rest of my hair. You want to keep this lower than your crown. And all you're going to do is just go in the direction of your pattern. Now, if you're very new to this and the crown versus the rest of your wave sounds too difficult, then you can just use 1 guard and just cut your entire wave pattern until you get the use of it, and then you can start using different lengths for your crown. All right, so let's hop right into it. So this is the area that I would cut my crown at, right? So I want this to be a 2 with the lever open, but I want everything else to be with the lever closed, which is what it is. So I'm going to start off right here. And you just go in the direction of how you brush your hair. That's all you do. Alright, so you guys can see it from this angle. I'm just going in the direction that I brush my waves. That's all it is. I'd even argue that cutting your hair is actually the easiest part. It's really lining it up that gets a lot of people. And that's really not the worst thing in the world once you get the hang of it. So we're just cutting that hair down. All right. If you wear glasses, be sure to move your glasses so you can get off any loose hair next to your ear. Just going in the direction of your pattern. Again, I'm going to leave my crown area alone because it's going to be a different length. But if you're starting out, you can cut from your crown all the way out if that's what you like. And be sure to take your time. Just take your time. See how it's cutting all that length off? Alright, it will benefit you to switch hands too. That way you keep the cut nice and consistent. So we'll come out here. And don't worry if you miss some things, if you don't get every strand of hair, because you're going to go over it again anyway. It's just to get the rough cut out. So I'm going to take a look in the mirror here. Alright, so now I cut around the main part of my wave. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to keep the same guard, but now I'm going to close the lever or open it. So that way it cuts my crown area a little bit thicker. Some wavers like to keep their crown at a 3. So they like to go like a guard and a half higher. Or they just like to go half a guard higher, etc. But the equivalent to this is pretty much the difference between open and close is about a half guard. So if this is a true number 2 guard because it's closed, then a number 2 guard with the lever open like this is the equivalent of a 2.5. So pretty much I'm cutting my waves with the grain with a number 2 and I'm keeping my crown area to a 2.5. That's pretty much what that means. So now we're going to keep this open and now I'm going to cut around my crown. You're just going to swoop it, again, in the way that you brush. And just a reminder, the reason why I'm keeping my crown area thicker is because your crown is naturally thinner than the rest of your waves. So like I said, you can use the same guard to cut pretty much your crown and your waves, but just know that your crown is going to be thinner than the rest of your hair because your crown is naturally thinner. So I intentionally keep it thicker to try and balance it out. This is also beneficial if some of you are struggling with getting waves in your crown area. Alright, so we're going to try it. Alright, so what I like to do after my first round of cutting around, I'm going to do a light brush session just to get all the loose hairs out, and I'm going to do another quick round. Again, you don't have to do this. This is just what I like to do to make sure I get a pretty good, nice thorough cut. And some of you may have even felt some of your barbers do this. Do like a light brush with your waves. Nothing crazy, just something quick, just to get all the loose hairs out. And this is actually good for y'all to see. So can y'all tell on this other hand, this over here, you see how there's like a fuzzy patch sticking up? That means I just need to go over that again. So if you see something like that, it's normal. You just have to go over it again just to make sure that you have an even cut. Again, and you guys aren't gonna be like the best barbers in the world when you're first cutting your hair. There's things that I'm still learning when I cut my hair, but I can give myself a very decent cut if I need to. So don't worry about it being perfect. You'll get better over time.
I was born for it, I was made for it. Working before I was paid for it. Ain't no finish line, I'm trying to race to it. I'ma run this shit after the tape torn. Can't be easing up, I keep the speed. I need that paper busting out the read. I don't just live it, nigga, I'm a fiend. That's why I never running out of steam. And yeah, I'm a pastor, but I'm a heathen. I got that good beat, so bereavement. We ain't just in the league, we the leads. I'm pushing it till we see every region, pedal to the flow. Melody to the dead of the know.
I need to go over this area a little bit more.
Don't mention my name, listen, this to be traumatized through all the years. Still I rise, I'm hard to kill. Before they lay me down the hill, I pray the Lord my saints reveal. All enemies in sight, and he holds true the words that God forgives. Close your eyes and guard your ears. Close your eyes and guard your ears. On the way to get a plate, I had to elevate and clear the slate. Before I could ever make them up the rate, it was some different routes I had to take. I'm at a different height and they can feel it. Been cruising at 30K, the view is great. I'm trying to take this shit up through the ceiling.
Alright, so now I'm just doing like a quick second round just to make sure I get any loose hairs.
Yeah, I got a brand to build, applying pressure with no plans to chill. Put me in that prime time, this is special, I'm keeping the schedule filled. No time for the extra at all, I got it unlocked and concealed. I ain't trying to play, I'm in the field all day. I had the top speed, still pushing it, that's how it is all day. Didn't know I had a shot, but I took it cause I know the wins won't wait. That's just a risk I take, that's just a risk I take. When I lose, my eyes are even, there's a risk to all achievement. I'd rather live a lesson than die turn this fake on my side. Put in the prep for the moment to rise. And I ain't planning to let up. I'm like a collectible, only get better with time. Every day a new grind. Edges separated, I sharpen the mind. Play with this blade and your life on the line. Top of the morning, you know I'ma shine. You know I'ma shine. I'm feeling revived, refinery. You know I've been through the fight. Flawless the victory right in my hand. Literally, it gon' take more than they got to get rid of me. See, I ain't trying to play. I'm in the field all day. I hit the top speed, still pushing it. That's how it is all day. You know I had a shot, but I took it cause I know the winds won't wait. That's just a risk I'll take. That's just a risk I'll take.
Alright, so this is what we're looking like after the second round of cutting. So this is what my waves look like, and they're two. They're not gonna be they may not be the shiniest. It just depends on how long you were ragged up before you cut your hair. I was only ragged up for 30 minutes, so that's not a lot of time. But if I was ragged up for like a couple of hours, then my waves would probably be a lot shinier. But it's fine because after a cut, you can add oil or product to your waves anyway to make them pop. This is just showing you guys how to actually cut your hair. So I did another round around my waves. Now we're just gonna do one more round around my crown, just to make sure I'm getting any loose hairs. You may need to add like a little bit of a swoop. And just remember, when you guys are first cutting your hair, you may need to rotate your head around a little bit to see if there's any missed spots. Like see here, I can see this one's still a little patchy, a little fuzzy, so that's near my crown. So I can go over that again just to make sure it's cut down to a lower length. Yes, see I got it now. And you can go back. Yep, so it's still there. So I'm gonna go over a couple more times. Alright. Rotate my head around this time. It's about gone. Slightly sticking up. So let's do a couple of times. And it's normal sometimes too, because again, it is going to be thicker. So let's do. Alright, so my waves are cut. So really the first part is already done. You cut your waves, alright, so now they're cut low. So this is what my waves look like at a 2. Alright. And just make sure you feel around your head for any other rough patches. Make sure you didn't miss anything. So I can feel like a bushy patch here, so I'll cut that at a number 2 with the lever closed. So we're gonna go right here. We're gonna cover that. Go over it a couple of times. Make sure you get all them loose hairs. There you go. feels around my waves, make sure there's no rough patches. And worst case scenario, let's say you do your lineup and everything and you realize, oh snap, there's a patch sticking up, because that happens to me sometimes. It's not the end of the world. Just grab your clippers and then make sure you cut them. You know, go over a couple times until it's all even. So it's not the end of the world if you did miss a spot, as long as it's just nothing super obvious. You know, like you got a whole patch of head right here and you missed everything else. So yeah, take your time, make sure you go over and everything at least looks roughly even. All right. So now that's part one, is cutting. Part two is lining your hair up. All right, so this is what gets a lot of people. All right, but don't worry, I'm gonna walk you guys step by step. Lining your hair up is not the worst thing in the world. Let's get it. Now, first things first. One advanced tip or trick that happens. Let's see what this one is. Let's see. All right, so one advanced tip or trick that you can do when lining up your hair is you can trim this very front part here where your hairline is. You can trim it. That's what's going to make it a lot shorter and sharper before you line it up. Because I can line it up right here now, but you want the part of your hairline to be as low as possible. So I'm going to grab a number 1 guard. I'm going to do with the lever close. And I'm going to go just like this. And you guys can also practice this before you actually cut your hair. Just practice going into the motion of going over your hair with the clipper off, so you're not cutting your hair, you're just getting used to it before you start. And you don't need to go all the way back here. That's just going to mess up your whole haircut. Just go slightly right here. Slightly here. It's enough to trim it down. So I'm going to do this here. You don't need to exaggerate it at all. We're just trying to make this very front layer of hair as low as possible to the skin. And if you're doing it right, you should feel your hair strands getting a little bit lower. This is only for the front. Now, of course, like let's say you get your hair cut at like a number 3, then you would do this. I mean, you could do this with a number 2 guard. It just depends on how high your hair is. Let's see. Yep. Do this all around. Alright, so now my hair is low. So now it's time to line up. Now you don't need this. This is what I use. Just it helps really keep your hair in place, so it helps a sharper line. This is just some line up trim spray. Or you can look up a product called Spritz hairspray. It's the same thing. It's essentially meant to keep your hair in place. So we're just gonna do this. You go spray it on your hairline, right? Alright, now at this point you're gonna let it dry for a little bit. If you do not have spritz, that's fine. Like I said, it's just an advanced technique. But if you're first starting out and you just cut your hair, go ahead and start lining up your hair. So make sure it doesn't get in your eyes. It'll take like a couple minutes for it to dry. You could also spray it here because we're gonna line this part up too. So just be careful, make sure it don't get in your eye. Let's see. I want to block this out. Yeah, just make sure you. There we go. Right there. Make sure it don't get in your eye. There we go. So now it's gonna dry that part. right, so once the spritz or the hairspray starts to dry, it's then time to grab your trimmers and it's time to get to work. All right, now same thing applies. If this is your very first time. If this is your very first time, before you turn on, just practice going along your hairline. All right, you're going to hold it straight, and you're just gonna practice going along your hairline. Do not start all the way from one side and make your way all the way over there, because as you do it, your vision starts getting a little bit cross-eyed, and then you're gonna make a mistake. All right. Anytime you're lining up your waves or lining up your hair, you always start from the center here and you work your way to one side. And then you do the same thing, work your way to the other side. Take your time with this, all right? This is not something you want to rush, all right? But it is very simple, all right? So what you want to do, of course, you just want to line it up. You do not need to overcompensate. One of the mistakes that I made when I was first lining up my waves is I felt like in order to get a sharp hairline, I had to put my blade right on my hair. Do not do that, because 9 times out of 10 you'll push your hairline back. All right, there are some small baby hairs that you can't see that are there that when you trim it, it's going to make your waves stand out. So do not overcompensate. All right, you just want to place it about right here. All right, so now that the spritz is dry, we're gonna start. And you're just doing small little taps, just like this. Nothing major, don't over exaggerate, just small taps. See, and you can already see it starting to edge itself out. I'm making my way to one side. Take your time. You will have to go over this a couple of times. Alright, so you guys can already kind of see the difference there. This one's still kind of fuzzy. This one's a lot more defined. Just take your time. What liner do you use? So this one is actually, let me see, what brand is this? Let's see. Okay, so honestly, this one is just like a custom one from like Temu, right? But you can use, you can buy any clipper set, honestly. Any clipper set that has a razor with it. The Walls clipper set, that's like the popular one, the most popular one of the top ones. It's spelled WAHL. That's the clipper set I got before I got this cool gold set that my sister got me last year for Christmas. It was off from like Amazon or Temu. It really doesn't matter though, just as long as it has like a razor. So we're gonna continue here. And don't worry if you got like a little mess going on. You're gonna wipe all this off. You're gonna clean it anyway. Alright. Now when you get to the edge, I like to kind of like scoop down just a little bit to try and make that angle. And my hairline's a little bit different than a typical one, which is fine. Like, everyone's hairline is going to be slightly different. I know people get joked about having an uneven hairline. My hairline isn't perfectly even. It's like slightly slanted, just natural. But as long as you know what to do to work with that, that's all that matters. So don't worry about it being perfect. Just cut your hair based off of your head shape. That's it. Don't worry about what everyone else says. Okay, Andis clippers. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one as well. Yeah, it really doesn't matter what clippers you use, especially if it gives you the cut that you're looking for anyway. Yeah. Alright, so I'm done with this side, so now I'm going to start from the center and move this way. Remember, you don't want to over-exaggerate it.
Literally, it gon' take more than they got to get rid of me. I ain't trying to play. I'm in the field all day. I hit the top speed, still pushing it. That's how it is all day. You know I had shot, but I took it.
So you guys can already see just from the difference in when I started. Like I said, I have a naturally, my hairline is slightly slanted. So if I wanted, I could compensate by starting to cut a little bit higher, right? So I could go over it just a little bit more, just to try and compensate. You know, but you just don't want to overdo it, because that's how you mess up. Like if you're gonna mess up during your haircut, it's better to mess up during the actual cut than when you line these up, because these, you can't do anything. If you cut too far, that's it. You might as well cut all your hair off. But with clippers, you can usually just use a different guard to try and even it out. Like if you cut your hair too low in one area, you just cut the rest of your head in that area. But razors, you definitely don't want to push your hairline up too far back. All right, so you guys can see pretty much the line is already there. Now, what I like to do is grab my brush here, and I like to brush my hairline down. This is going to force any other hairs to go over my hairline, and I'm going to do another trim round. This trim round is not going to take nearly as long. I'm just getting any extra loose hairs because I want my hairline to be as sharp as possible. We're gonna do, see, you can see that my hairline, my line is still, you can still see the edge up, but there's these small baby hairs that I just brushed there. So you want to get those too. So that way, once you're done cutting your hair, if you do brush over your hairline, you know 9 times out of 10 you got any other baby hairs that's hiding. Just gonna do another one. Alright, so we got that, and now we're gonna go over here. And if you guys do try cutting your own hair, and if you say it's a decent cut, try not to worry if people make fun of you. I mean, my thing is, at least you're learning how to do it. A lot of people, they're ready to make fun of you, but they don't know how to do their own hair. You know what I'm saying? So at least you're learning how to. So if it's not perfect or people crack jokes, don't stress it, because at least you're learning how to do something that most people are too scared to even try to do. So keep that in mind. Like, you're not a barber. You didn't go to school for this. I didn't go to school for this. I just taught myself, and now at least I know how to give myself a decent haircut, a decent lineup. So yeah, try not to let other people discourage you. A lot of people, they do a lot of talking and roasting, but it's like they themselves, they're not even willing to try it. So at least you're growing. All right, so now that we got the front here, the next thing we're gonna do the sides. These are one of the easiest parts to hit, because all you really got to do is just hold your blade just like this. All right, again, I recommend playing with it at first, just so that way you're used to it. And once you get a grasp of where you want to cut it, then you can start. So we're going to do this here. You're just going to do a slight trim. Again, do not go too far back. There are baby hairs there that are hiding. Do not worry about it. I'm left-handed, so this side feels a little bit awkward for me. But that's fine. And some of you guys may notice that there may be a side that gives you the most trouble. Like for me, it's this side, because there's like a small little baby hair that hits there. So I always have to give my right side a little bit extra attention. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the whole thing about having a perfect hairline, being born with a perfect hairline, is kind of overrated, because everything is not gonna be 100% perfect. You know, as long as you can give yourself a decent cut, that's all that matters. Go over it a couple times. So you guys can already see kind of like a difference, right? Not that bad, right? It's decent. So now, let's see. So I like to go over it one more time, just to make sure. Perfect. Yeah, it'll take some time getting used to. Like once you figure out what works best for you and how to hold your clippers and your razor, it's pretty much easy after that. So you just need to take time to figure out what's easiest for you to hold yours. This is the easiest way to hold mine. You can see now at least the sides and the front have a straight line. So now what I like to do is I like to kind of do like a high cut here, a cut low, and then I like to do a fade. I'm just keeping it simple for this live, so I may not do that this time, but I am going to show you guys the basics of how to do that. So now when it comes to lining up this part, so the next part that you'll line up after you've done the top, after you've done the sides or the edge here, then you're going to do this part here, where your sideburns are, and it's going to go into your beard. Now this part is completely up to you. It doesn't matter. Some people like to keep the sideburns and some people like to cut them and cut them low. That is completely up to you. Recently I've started cutting up a little bit high so I can have like a little fade, and then I just outline here. Some people like to keep all this and they just do like a long trace here. It doesn't matter. Essentially all you're going to do, you're just going to follow the line. That's it. So I'll show you guys how I do this one. And you're going to use a corner, just the corner of here. You're not using this whole blade. You're using just a corner. It'll look like I'm using the whole blade, but I'm kind of tilted it up. I'm going to use the corner right here. You're just going to try and make that C shape. Again, if your hairline or the way you normally get your hair cut doesn't have a C shape, don't worry about it. You come over here. You're just going to follow that line, however you see fit. And then you'll follow it into the beard here. In your beard, you're just going to trace the beard. Yeah, if you guys have like acne or anything, just be very careful. You don't want to like hit any bumps or anything. I know having acne is very frustrating. I hate acne. I hate it. But just make just, be very careful. You don't want to hurt yourself. And some guys forget that you need to also trim like your cheeks as well, because there's some hairs that grow here as well. So you want to trim that, make it all look neat. You just want to follow the line on your beard. Alright, so you guys can already see kind of like how it's starting to shape up. Alright, versus this side. Can you guys see the difference? This side is not really shaped up like that. This side is. Make sure it's Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing. Do that C shape, and we're going to trace it all the way into the beard. Alright, make sure you're doing it. Make sure you're good. Yeah, and y'all forgive me if I need to step away and do this in the mirror, because I can see a lot more when I do it in my mirror. My bathroom mirror than when I'm on the phone. So if I step away, it's just me trying to make sure I'm not hitting the right angle. But you want to definitely trim these parts here. There's some small hairs. You want to make that look nice and neat. You just follow that beard line. That's all you do. Go upwards. You don't want to cut this way, because if you do, you're going to end up cutting your hair. So I grab the clippers here or the razors, and I just kind of go up this way. Kind of cutting away from it. Take your time. Just go over it a couple of times. Take your time with this one. Yeah, my right side gives me the most trouble. My left side, it lines up pretty decent. But with my right side, I have to give it more work. So pay attention to what's your weak side and what's your strong side. It's completely normal. Like I said, you're not like an expert barber. You're just starting. So as long as you get the main gist of it. Yeah, cool. And then you want to line up this part here. Get a nice, clean, sharp look. This part is also subjective. Some people like to cut this part off, and some people like it to connect to their mustache. There's no right or wrong answer. Just cut how you want your hair to look. Now, another thing that's really gonna help is if you guys have any like fuzz underneath your lip, you want to get that too. Just be very, very careful. You don't want to cut yourself with these. Take your time.
I was born for it, I was made for it. Working before I was paid for it. Ain't no finish line, I'm trying to race toward. I'ma bring this shit after the tape torn. Can't be easing up, I keep the speed. I need that paper busting out the ring. I don't just live a nigga, I'm a fiend. That's why I'm never running out of steam. And yeah, I'm the pastor, but I'm a heathen. I got that good beat.
Alright. See how the peach fuzz is gone? Alright, so we cut my waves, we lined up the front, lined up the sides. If you want to take it to the next level, you can go to the store and buy like a little scraper razor, the little small silver tool, and you can go over your line to make it look a lot more crisp, a lot crispier. Alright, but this is just for my beginners, just to get the nerves of cutting your hair out of the way. Alright, so next you guys want to make sure you line up your mustache too. This is a neglected area that I feel like a lot of new 360 wave cutters miss. You want to make sure your mustache looks good too. It's part of just general grooming.
I stuck to the plan, it's clear. Yeah, I got a brand to build, applying pressure with no plans to chill. Put me in that prime time, this is special. I'm keeping the schedule filled. No time for the extra at all. ain't trying to play. I'm in the field all day. I hit the top speed, still pushing it. That's how it is all day. They know I had shot, but I took it because I know the winds won't wait. That's just a risk I take. That's just a risk I take.
You want to go over it a couple of times? Be very careful because now you're near your mouth, so you want to be very careful. Alright. Now, next is going to be very uncomfortable. You're going to want to hit this below your mustache here. Alright. I highly recommend, and make sure you're wiping off your razors too. I highly recommend, again, playing around with the clipper near that area, near any area that you're not comfortable with. I highly recommend playing around with your clipper area in that area with it off first before you actually cut. You want to get used to your positioning before you actually do it. So you want to make sure it's, we're going to get a little personal. I apologize. Make sure it's right above your lip. Not on your lip. You're going to cut yourself. Right above your lip. All right. And do the same thing. Brush that. Alright. Now, we could have did this one first before we lined it up. It really doesn't matter. But you want to grab a comb. Make sure it's clean, of course. You want to kind of like comb, kind of like you're combing your mustache. You're going to hold it and clip, and you're going to clip with the trimmer just to get any long or loose hairs. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Make sure you don't cut your lip. Please be careful. Alright, cool. So we got that out of the way. Now next part here is your beard, or actually, no, we'll keep it in the head first. So, let's see, where are my glasses? All right, so we'll do this first. Move to the head first. So now the back of your head is the same concept, right? You're just lining up that edge here. I definitely play around with the clippers or the trimmers here, because now you're looking behind you. So your orientation and your understanding of your direction may be a little off. So definitely play around with the clippers first, with it off before you start trimming. Same thing on the other side. So now, you're just gonna follow that line. Remember, all you're doing is you're just edging it out a little bit. Now, of course, you would also want to remove this glass. Like, if you wear glasses, you want to remove this, and then you want to go over your ear too. I'm probably gonna do that off camera, just because, you know, I'm doing this on the phone, so that requires a lot more detail. But just keep that in mind. You also want to go over your ear. And all you're doing is tracing it. Don't worry about it being perfect. You're just giving yourself a decent cut. Just enough to look presentable. And you're gonna switch to the other side here. Definitely switch hands. We're gonna go over this other side. Alright. Alright, so now you got the back. Alright. Now the back, this is the trickiest part, alright? Same concept applies. Do not line up from left and then go all the way to the right. You're going to mess your lineup up. Start from the center and move your way to the right, just like you do at the top. Start from the center, move your way to the left or to the right. You're going to do the same thing before your back, all right? You do not want to mess this up. Again, you really want to play around with these trimmers. I can't stress that enough before you turn it on. Get used to your hand placement before you do it. It's going to feel very awkward. Like if I'm cutting here, then I'll move it. I'll start from the center and I'll move my way this way. So let's say here. And I usually give myself a little bit of a fade, so that's why my hair is like really low. But essentially you're just gonna move your way this way. It'll definitely feel a little awkward. And then of course you'll switch hands and you'll do the other way as well. What you gotta do. Kind of move the mirror so you can see what you're doing. Yeah, don't worry about this back patch here. Back of my head, I was kind of born with that. Don't worry about it. So, but yeah, you're just gonna go over to the left. Take your sweet time. Take your time. I'm gonna finish this up in the mirror real quick, but you guys can see, like, that's it. That's all it really is to cutting your own waves, right? You just go in the direction that you brush, line up the top, line up the sides, line up where your beard's at, line up your mustache, and then if you notice like I'll go over it, but if you notice some long hairs here, you can do like a slight trim with the trimmers, and then we'll line up this part right here, and then we'll be done. But you can see it's a decent cut. Haven't added product in. These are the waves without any oils or butter or anything. So it's presentable. Let me finish this up in the mirror real quick. And then of course, one thing you can do is you can turn the clippers kind of like this way, like you're going up, and you can kind of go up your neck just a little bit. Do not dig into your neck, you're gonna cut yourself, but kind of like even it out, and you're just kind of shave up to get rid of any of the loose hairs. Alrighty. Cool. So next what I like to do is finish off this beard. Now with the beard, you can either use the clipper or the trimmers, right, to trim any loose hairs. Again, do not over exaggerate, all right? Do not start digging into it. There are baby hairs that you cannot see that your clippers are catching that's gonna make a small difference. When I was lining up my hair here, you didn't see me put my clipper all the way up here to be like, let me make sure I get some hair. No, it's right here. And you can see that the lineup is clearly evident. All right, so same thing here. And you're gonna wanna kind of just do like a light trim, almost like you're barely touching the beard. And that's how you're gonna get some of those baby hairs. And you can also tilt your head different ways to see, okay, are there any small hairs sticking out? Like you see this right here? You see this? You can go over that. Get that. Again, just take your time with this. Alright, once you feel like you've gotten a lot of like the loose hairs here, you're then going to come up here and you're going to do like a slight lineup under here, alright? And you see all this, your neck has hairs too, so you want to lightly, very lightly and carefully get rid of those hairs as well. Alright, so we're going to go over that. Do not, please, do not dig into your skin. This is very, very light. Just like how you came up here and you just touched your skin, come up here, very light. Light tap. I'm going to create that outline. Now, some people like to get rid of all this and kind of have like this, they kind of like having this little open space. That's not my look. I like having a beard, so I'm going to keep it, but you're going to line up your neck. Alright, be very careful. I'm not digging into my skin. I'm doing very, very delicate taps. It's enough to create the line. You don't need to overdo it. Alright. I like to turn it. I'll clean this off first. Alright. Now I like to turn it this way to where this is actually on my neck. And you do not dig, you will cut yourself. You will cut yourself. Keep it nice and level. Like, do not do this. You will cut yourself. Do this. Nice and level. Nice and slow. Almost as if, like, if this is like my neck, this is where your blade's at. And I almost like to kind of lift the blade up just to really make sure it's not in my skin. Keep it nice and level. Like that. And if you feel really uncomfortable about it, if you feel really uncomfortable and you just want to stop and it looks decent, then just stop. Don't worry about it being perfect, because I'd rather you stop and it still looks decent than you try to make it perfect and then you just nick yourself. Again, you're still learning, so don't beat yourself up. All right, and that's pretty much it. That's how you cut your waves, right? It's a decent haircut, all right? It's enough to go out on date night, look presentable, right? And of course, there's other tools. Like I said, you could use those edge tools, those razors, and after lining up, you can kind of go over your line, kind of like what those barbers do, and really, really shape it. But yeah, how you cut your waves. That's it. Now, for those of you who may not understand, like, or may not know this, after you get your hair cut, you don't wash your hair again. All right. You remember, you would have already washed your waves either that same day or the day prior. So you can go 5 to 7 days without washing your hair because your hair is now cut low. And one thing that I like to do is get in a nice mean brush session after this. Now, let's see. Anytime you cut your waves, you want to always have some sort of alcohol. No, not that type. I mean rubbing alcohol. For me, I'm using Noxzema pads, but you can just get like some cotton balls and then some rubbing alcohol. Pour a little bit on there and just kind of dab. Let me stop. I'm just playing. But you can just kind of like dab across your hairline. Everywhere that your clippers cut, not your trimmer. Oh, sorry, that's reverse. It's easy to get confused. Everywhere that your trimmers contacted with, that's where you want to go over with the rubbing alcohol. The reason why is because your clippers didn't really cut into your skin. The clippers just cut into your hair, your waves, right? It was the trimmers that did small microscopic cuts into your skin. So in order to prevent infection, you want to always use some type of rubbing alcohol to go over them, all right? And this is why your barbers do that as well. So that way it doesn't get infected, you don't break out. So I like to grab like one of these. This Noxzema pads, you can get these from Walmart, Walgreens, Target. What you're gonna do is gonna go over everywhere that your clippers cut. Everywhere. So everywhere, not your clippers, sorry, trimmers. Everywhere that your trimmers cut. So think anywhere that you did a lineup, your mustache, under your lip, under here, it's gonna burn. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna burn a bit. I like to use another one too, just to make sure it's not keeping all that hair residue on it. Want to keep things sanitary, of course. And of course, then you want to go towards the back, where you lined your back up. Yeah. Now, you don't have to have some of that finishing spray that the barbers put on your hair. That's just, you know, extra. But at the bare minimum, this is how you cut your 360 waves, all right? So let's recap, all right? Number one, first thing we did, and which really this should have happened yesterday or earlier in the day, is we washed our waves, gave our hair time to dry. Then you're going to unrag, and then you're going to comb out your hair. You're going to lift up your hair. Now, if you're going to a barber shop, you don't really need to comb out your hair. They're going to do that. I actually like to tell people, if you're going to go to a barber shop, keep unrag right before you go in. Don't unrag and comb it out because they're not going to be able to understand. They're not going to be able to see your wave pattern to a T, right? So if you're going to a barbershop, unrag and let them comb it out so they can at least see how your brush angles are. But if you're brushing at home, if you're cutting your hair at home, unrag, comb out your waves just as you normally do as part of your normal wave routine. We're not doing anything that's crazy. Comb out like you normally do. If you want to comb with the grain and then against the grain and then lay it back down, you can do that. Or you can just lift it up and then cut it. I've seen tons of barbers lift up your waves with the grain and then they just cut it. They don't comb against the grain because again, they want to see your pattern. So yeah, so first step on the day of the cut, you unrag, right? Make sure your waves are there, all right? So if your waves are all over the place, I recommend that you brush them down with a hard, medium, and soft brush. Rag up for about an hour, then unrag, so your pattern is clearly there. And then you're gonna comb out your waves. Then next, once you lift your hair up, you're then going to grab your clippers, right? Put the guard on that you want to cut your hair length to, right? For most wavers, it'll usually be between a 1.5 with the grain or a number 2 with the grain. Go over your hair pattern just as you brush. You can play around with it before you cut it on, but go along your hair pattern. After that, you're going to make sure you hit the crown. So after you're done with that, you're going to then grab your trimmers. That's going to be the small razor that you use to line yourself up. You're going to line your hair up from the front, starting from the center to one end, center to the other end. Line up the sides, line up the beard, line up the mustache, all the small parts. Line up underneath the beard, line up the back, the back sides, and then the actual back. I'm probably gonna fade this once I'm done with this live. And then use some Noxzema, some rubbing alcohol to clean all the areas that you use. And that's pretty much it. As for time, if you're doing just a general basic haircut, you can really be done with it in about 30 minutes. But if you want to get into like fading and really detailed work, then it could take you about an hour. So yeah, that's how you guys do it. If you guys have any questions, even if you're not on this live now and you watch it after it's uploaded, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below. And I'm more than happy to get you guys hooked up. But I know for those of y'all, it's pretty intimidating, all right? But just remember this. You're not going to automatically replace your barber skills just because you know how to cut your hair. There are some things that like I'm still learning when cutting my hair, but I know how to give myself a decent haircut if I need to, right? So just understand it's not going to be perfect the first time, the second time, third time. If people roast you, ignore them. Just be like, hey, well, at least, do you know how to cut your hair? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are ready to critique people without even being in their shoes. So at least you're learning a skill. And ultimately, it's going to save you money anyway. And then, of course, now I still go to the barbershop if I have like a very special event, like if it's an anniversary, a date night with my girl, or, you know, it's a wedding I'm going to. It's very, very special occasions. Then, yeah, I'll go to a barber until my at-home skills matches a barber's or surpasses them. But for me, I've just been cutting my waves since 2022, and I know how to make my waves pop with it. So yeah, but that does it. That does it for this live. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have been cutting your hair already, let me know what you learned, or if I missed something, be sure to drop it down in the comment section below as well. You guys be safe. Salute to my wave troops. And guys, be sure to check out my brand new ebook for those of you who need weekly objective step-by-step guidance on getting waves from start to finish. All right, you guys be safe and be blessed. I'm out. I always do that. Let me see if I cut this off.